Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Om. Salutations to Bhagavan Ramakrishna. Devotional teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Of Sri Ramakrishna's devotional teachings. Seventh. One who realizes God is only able to go beyond Maya. Sri Ramakrishna also says Maya is of two kinds. That which leads us to God, which is called Vidya Maya, and that which leads us away from God is Avidya Maya. So he's saying this, what does this Avidya Maya and Maya? It's all Maya. No. One, as I said, it leads you, that which is devoted to God, spiritual disciplines, japa, dhyana. Yes, these are all things within the realm of Maya. But they lead you to God. And once you, as Sri Ramakrishna says, one who realizes God only is able to go beyond Maya. This Maya is saying, it has, as I mentioned, it's one of the pillars of the Advaita Vedanta philosophy. And it has been explained variously by different philosophers. We don't need to go into that big, huge discussion. Like Swamiji says, it's a statement of facts of what we are. What we are, this is what we are now. Well, we are not seeing God right now. That is a statement of facts. And then we are busy with the world. So that is a statement of facts. And then whatever you do after this is Maya. Sri Ramakrishna also says, this me and mine and you and yours is Maya. He also says, this I is Maya. So if you can get rid of this I, then you can realize God. So he's saying one who realizes God only is able to go beyond one. So it boils down to this sense of I, this individuality which has separated itself from God, and that acts like a kind of a screen. Once the screen goes, so Maya has been explained like, oh, that's a huge ocean and you got to go tossing and in this tiny boat, and like ocean of relative existence, ocean of samsara, this, that, so many explanations have been given. It's an illusion, maybe it's a delusion. Like I said, statement of facts, it is not an illusion, it is there. It is something that takes you away from God. So what takes you away from God? This I. Now how do you overcome it? Well, you can think of yourself as, I'm a child of God. I'm a servant of God. I'm a friend of God. I'm any of these established relationships which are mentioned in the scriptures. So you get an idea, well, you're linked now to God. And as this link keeps on getting stronger and stronger and stronger, then the separate sense of I goes away. And Sri Ramakrishna calls it the ripe I. This I, he gives us two interpretations, the raw I and the ripe I. And he gives the illustration of a mango. A raw mango is hard, it's sour, inedible. Except if you want to make something like, you want to pickle it or something like that. But the ripe I is luscious, it's aromatic, it's sweet. So this I becomes ripe. And he gives the example, Sri Ram gives the example of one person, he gets a mango, and what does that person do? One gentleman, he eats that mango by himself and wipes away all the traces. Another gets the mango and he shares it with everybody. This is the ripe I. So Sri Ramakrishna also called, saying, there are two things that bind us. Maya binds us, and daya, compassion, frees us. So what is daya? What is compassion? Compassion for all beings. That frees us. So that's an expansion of the ego. And opposite of that is Maya. So the original is Je Ishwar ke darshan kore sei Maya par hoy jete pare. Like, it's one of my favorite verses in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 7th chapter, 15th verse. This my Maya, this my divine Maya, made up of the gunas, is extremely difficult to cross. But those who take refuge in me cross over this Maya. So here it is. So why not go to the one who is going to help us? So he says it's extremely difficult to cross. Why? Because this I is so persistent, it just cannot be killed. And yet we see that in the state of deep sleep or in the state of swoon, there is no I. So there is a chance of it disappearing at times and again reappearing. So if you can merge it in the idea of God, then it will awaken with this same idea of God. That I am there, I have compassion for everyone, not only for myself. Oh, I'm so compassionate, so very compassionate for myself. This is what is saying. The Upanishads also say this, when one who realizes God, the problem is, if you find this God somewhere, grab that God. Where is she? Then the task would have become very easy. Yeah. I want to realize you. Chase after that. Grasp it. But it cannot be seen with the eyes. Na sandrishe tishtati rupam. And that's the problem. Na sandrishe tishtati rupam asya na kachat pashyati kashane. Nobody can see it with these. Then where? In the heart, Hrida. There. Hrida, Manisha, Manasa. So, here it is in the heart, and the wise ones, they see it. And they attain immortality. So now You know where to look for. Don't run about here and there. It is within you, in your heart, and it can be seen with an mind or the intellect which is purified, one-pointed. So and it's not a one-time event. As you go deeper within yourself, you will find Maya running away from you. It will leave you away. Yes, you think Maya, she's going to trap you. No. The other way is, as Sri Ramakrishna said, well, propitiate the Divine Mother. Now, Maya is now embodied or personalized, and then that Maya can be approached. Oh, she is the Divine Mother. Mother, step away from my path, and so I can see the Lord. So this is perhaps the best way. And Sri Ramakrishna has given many types of means, but he's saying, if you propitiate the Divine Mother, she is called Mahamaya, the great Maya. And this great Maya is one who keeps you engaged and occupied with hundreds of things. Keep yourself. And then she steps. So that's another way. As you go deep inside, you also pray to the Divine Mother, because she has made the impossible possible. And the possible, she can make the impossible. So she can do anything. So as you keep on praying to her, then you can see that Maya has gone off. But this could go on and on and on. So just brief, because you've got the entire book there to go. The eighth aphorism is, with the power of God, only all are powerful. I mean, the translation is, with God's power, everything else gets its power. That's the bit. It is the translation of Ishwarer Shaktite Sab Shaktiman. For one thing, the moment we perceive anything in the external world, anything, what do we see? Things are moving. It means that things have some inherent, or they are being impelled by some power. And we see the sun and the moon and the tides and the volcanoes and earthquakes and this, the human being and everything, the mind. There is a power, inherent power. So as we said, it is God's power that powers everything. This is the immanent aspect of God. We are not talking about because a devotee, like Sri Ramakrishna's devotional teaching, the devotee is not interested in that transcendental aspect of God. Oh, what's that? I like to have God here, sweet, blissful, that which I can love and which loves me in return. So, one way to understand this God which is there dwelling in all beings, that He is the power behind all powers. Everything, whether you call material, mental, psychical, moral, spiritual, every power, whatever is there, it is His power, or it is His Shakti. So So God and His power, like what? So you can see Sri Ramakrishna is God and His power. The limiting adjunct of God is power. He makes a hilarious, you can say, comment. Well, if a gentleman is without money, what do you call him? He's not a gentleman. Or if a rich man is without wealth. So if God is without power, who's going to bother? Now this power that he says Shakti is the conscious principle there. So this consciousness is appearing as power that moves everything. But even this, at this level, Shakti of consciousness is, as it were, has become the material powers that move everything. As you go deeper, you'll find that consciousness is getting freed from the taint of materiality. It becomes pure and pure. Then it becomes mental consciousness in the mind. Then as it go deeper and deeper and finer, you think that same consciousness is like a kind of getting more and more purified, more and more subtle, more and more internal. Because we cannot have 2 or 3 types of powers and no 2 or 3 types of consciousnesses. Material consciousness, mental consciousness, moral consciousness, intellect. No. We have to have one. And that's the goal of all the scientists also. We want to have one. One, you can say, one force. Now there are 4 or 5 forces and they're trying to combine. They're saying it's going to be a grand unified field theory. Well, good luck. And it's going to happen, and it will happen. Why? Because all powers are actually unified. They appear diverse. So all consciousness in the squid, in the dolphin, in the whale, in the ant, in me, in you, it's all one consciousness, one power. There are no 2 powers. It's appearing diverse. And why is that? Okay, it will say, oh, that's because of Maya. Okay, again, come back to this. It is one. So, God and it's God's consciousness. So, God, where people are saying, hey, there is God, yes, it's the most manifest entity in the world. And people have been trying to find this God. And when they search a little, they find, oh, there is no God. Where did you go to search it? I went to on that trail, I went on that mountain, I went in that river, I crossed that river, I went across into that other country, I found no God. So Sri Ramakrishna said, greater men like they are towering people. They have said, I have seen God. Vedahametam Purusham Mahanta. I have seen God. I know that great Purusha. Now, people like, now on YouTube and all these things, they have got all these very classes of Pandits. And there's a great debate. They're debating very furiously and they really believe that. And sometimes when you take a kind of a detached view of these things, you must credit them with that sincerity and that fire. There are some who will say, yes, God exists, and some say, no, God does not exist. And there are some in the middle, the agnostics. They're fence-sitters. Okay. That's even actually better. I don't know. The guys who are saying there is no God, at least they are sincere. because they have searched a little, but there are those who say there is a God, but they have not known God. Like Swamiji says, well, if somebody eats for you, your hunger is not going to go away. But these people you'll find the ideas of God is so limited. And that is why they are under attack. The moment you have a limited idea of God, my God is something like this. Maybe he has got 5 hands, 6, make it even. 6 or 8 or 12 or something like that. Oh, my God is this and my God is that. When you have all the limit, then comes the attacks. The moment you have a God who's infinite, with everything is hearkens or indicates God's existence. The God is universal, infinite. So this is what he says, with the power of God, only all powerful. They say, through God's power, everything else becomes powerful. Now, power, there's the closest translation of Shakti. Shakti is not just power. There's money power. There's Artha Bala. In the Mahabharata, there's physical strength, Bahubala. And there's a moral strength, okay, character, strength of character, etc., all these things. But this power has got a different connotation. It is Shakti. Shakti is at the beginning of creation, on the still waters rises these bubbles of creation. And it keeps on and on and on and growing and growing and growing and growing. So it has its own evolution and involution and everything. So something that constantly moves and creates, it's a power. So our minds, our thoughts, our senses, our bodies, the atoms and everything is constantly in motion. That itself is power. That itself is Shakti. And that itself is the power of God, which powers everything. So from that small idea, a sectarian or a kind of narrow vision of God has to be broadened. And the more you can broaden it, then it makes sense. Then you can understand, oh, this is God. Then we'll have to search. Now this Shakti is also, like if you go in a shrine, you will have all these various Shaktis. Yeah. One is the big one, Durga. And one is a nice, calm, silent one, Saraswati. These are all aspects of Shakti, the Divine Mother God. So again here it is personalized. Because if we can really be convinced that everything that moves in my body is because of this Shakti, this power, then I won't have any problem. But then, you know what? My tendency, our tendency in mind, is to go towards a personality. And that's why it is personalized in the form of Durga, or Saraswati, or Lakshmi, or Kali. Kali is the epitome of power. So you're saying, oh, this Shakti is power. Yeah, sometimes it's good. And sometimes, as a Kali is shown like, don't worry, I'm here to cut your head off. Because Shakti is constantly the play of God, and she is creating and preserving, destroying, she's recycling things, and she is quick about it. She doesn't cry and weep. Oh, okay. Constantly repackaging things. And this, if you can understand, oh my God, ooh, this is the play of Shakti. And as I said, this power is also, the Shakti is also the conscious. We don't want a material, dull, dead, insentient power, because it's got no use for us. Right? So, because why? Because it belongs to God. What is God? Yeah, consciousness, and His power also is consciousness. The ninth one, bondage and liberation are both of God's making. Through God's grace only one attains liberation. Now they say, there are two things, bondage and liberation. But there are people who don't feel any bondage. They are fine, all right, everything is going perfectly all right. They have no problem. Those who feel that bondage will strive for freedom. We do feel bondage. Okay, I'm hungry and I just want to get rid of the bondage of hunger and eat. These are very low. The bondage and freedom is like the liberation, that is spiritual. The spirit feels confined, constrained, imprisoned, and it wants to break free. So both are. We could have made, okay, you take the liberation side and some other guy responsible for the bondage. No. In Vedanta, we'll keep one agency only, one agent. We don't want two agents, because again, that will be dualism. So you feel bondage and you feel liberation. Again, it is a Vidya, Maya and Avidya. They are not two things. It is one thing, the obverse and reverse. The same thing which is bondage, when turned around, becomes liberation. Must never think that there's bondage there and there's liberation there. I have to go there. No. When you feel bound, hold on to that bondage and turn it around. That is liberation. So it's better to have, as I said, one. So what is God doing, keeping us bound? Then now there are various reasons given by various people. Oh, this is for your own education. Oh, for your own evolution. Because always you'll say, why do we need to get educated and all this thing? And to get liberation? God could have done the very thing in the very beginning. Why go through the whole thing? Now, we are not going to argue on that. We are not going to try to defend God. God loves you. He's putting you in such a big crisis, a big trouble and big stress, so that He wants to test you. So, all those things, those are weak arguments. Unfortunately, people are just taking those weak arguments. Let's face it, yes, God is responsible for my bondage and God is responsible for liberation. That is a better conception of God. Don't try to whitewash your God. Yeah. My God is so nice. So all the other things, that crazy fellow, devil or Satan, whatever he had done, my God was nice. No. Make that God like that. So there's a better way. Then only will you be able to really worship. Swami Vivekananda says, worship the terrible. Can you worship the terrible? Yes. That soft, sweet God that you like, yeah, that's good. Turn that God on the other side and that's terrible. So once Sri Ramakrishna he prayed to the Divine Mother, show me Maya. And who wants to see Maya? But Sri Ramakrishna. Because there was a time when he, out of compassion for us, had to keep his body alive. So one time he was standing on the embankment of the Ganges river, of the temple. And he's shouting, come Maya, come Maya. My God. And we are saying, Maya, go away, go away. He's inviting Maya. So he says, one time I was sitting down on the platform of those sacred grove of 5 trees. It's on the banks of the Ganges. That's the place where he practiced all his spiritual disciplines. And there's a river out there. There's a slope down to the banks and then the river. And so he was sitting down. Then he sees somebody emerging out from the river. The head appears. Then the neck and the arms, the chest and everything slowly. And he sees a very beautiful woman who is emerging out of the river. And he is curiously looking at. And then as she's coming, she's wading through the water, coming to the banks, he sees she's pregnant. She sits on the bank of the river and she delivers her baby. And she's nursing the child with such love and tenderness. Sri Ramakrishna is keeping looking. And in the next moment, she becomes a hideous looking woman. All her beauty and all her love and everything goes away. And she takes on her terrible form, a terrific form. And she takes the child and chews on it, masticates on it, and swallows it, and turns back and goes to the river and disappears. In another retelling of this, Sri Ramakrishna says, as she is swallowing the child, that child gets into a void. It's disappearing into a void. So he saw Maya. He saw this. The nice side, the bondage and the liberation. They're both one. That's why he's saying, the original is saying, Bandhan ar mukti, duyer kortai tini, tar doya hole mukta. If God is compassionate, now it's translated here as through God's grace. But the closer translation of that word will be, it's God's compassion liberates you. One attains liberation. So how do you go about it? Well, make God the center of your life. Let all your activities continue as before. People say, what should I do in spiritual life? What you are doing right now? Oh, yes. Keep on doing exactly what you do. Should I go to the cave or a forest? Should I go to a retreat, a 3-day retreat, a 7-day retreat, and pay through my nose and go and after one day feel so dull and the head starts aching and I feel so drowsy, and then I have my retreat and I come feeling good. You do exactly what you're doing. You are supposed to keep working by just making God the center of your life. You're not asked to do anything extra. The moment you make God your center of your life, all your actions will stem from that center. Your entire personality. Then, instead of things now stemming from your ego, now they're stemming from God. And that is liberation. When things issue out or stem from the ego, that's bondage. It is not the actions that bind you. It is the, as I said, your center of gravity has to. So turn it around and then you'll find. Let's take the, we have a little time. We can take the 10th one. We are going a little fast, but then Sri Ramakrishna's words don't need too much explanation because they are so simple. They come directly. Sri Ramakrishna might say, oh, this guy is trying to explain my words. I've already explained my words and trying to explain. The 10th one is, those who have realized God are aware that free will is a mere appearance. In reality, I am the machine and God its operator. I am the carriage and God its driver. How more lucid and simple can you? There's a big discussion. Free will? Free will? Yeah. By God. Okay. Let's put it like this. This free will. First, if everything is bound in the universe, that is, the laws of causation and laws of time and space, etc., binds everything, your body, mind, and everything. And suddenly you think that your will is free. The free will, idea of free will is also important. I mean, it's an appearance. It is important. Why? No? Because you're supposed to take your responsibility. I did that. I chose that and I got it. No, I take it. When God is out of the picture, you take it. So, I'm a free agent. Take responsibility for what you did then. So these are the people who say, man is born free and continues to remain free. What is that in this Communist Manifesto? There's something like that. Anyway, it's been a long time.
Man is born free and then he's in chains after that.
Yeah, something like that. Break your chains and become free, etc. All these things. So, but then free will, everything is free will. It is necessary for this illusion to be there. Otherwise, we will not take any responsibility. We will not work. This gives us that illusion. Yeah, we are in charge. We are doing this. We are doing okay. This free will. No, remove the word free. Will. Will is an aspect of the mind. When the mind is concentrated and directed in one particular direction, that will becomes powerful. That's the willpower. That's a better way. It's the powers of the mind are concentrated and put in one direction and repeatedly done over and over again. It develops willpower. That we agree, that we want. That is what is necessary for everybody. Willpower. If this willpower is not there, you will not be able to do your spiritual disciplines. You will not be able to do anything. This will is got by persistent efforts. Like Swamiji says, for a long time, this persistent efforts, sustained persistent efforts has to. Even Patanjali says, Sartu Dirgha Kala Nairantarya, it takes long sustained efforts with great love for the thing to be attained. That is willpower. So willpower is at the heart of every activity that we do. Everything, it's willpower. Now what is this? This willpower becomes more powerful when it meets challenges. Yes. Whenever you meet the resistance, any challenges, the willpower becomes stronger and stronger. So willpower. Neurology now is talking about this will is connected to the will to live. It's not just simple, oh, I've got a willpower. The very will to live is willpower. It's an aspect of willpower, this will. And you can see displayed in numerous instances where everything is against that life, that person, and that person triumphs. You'll see this manifestation of this will to live, which is nothing but the willpower. It is not free, but yet it is powerful. Swami Vivekananda says that will is powerful enough to shake the foundations of the world, which they got. And he's talking about these prophets. They shake the very nature of the human soul, as it were. They shake. They have the power. And this, he says, is got to repeat it. In Karma Yoga, is one of the first chapters, he's saying, Buddha was born in a royal family, and his father was just a small-time king, more like a chieftain. We don't know whether he said a word for the good of humanity, but what is that which he produced a son which half the world adores? We know the Jesus Christ, they say his parents were the ordinary parents, and I think they say his father was a carpenter. And he also did some carpentry work. And how will that carpenter produce such a son that the whole world worships? How is that possible? We have this Buddha. It's not by hereditary. Oh, I've got the beautiful genes, so I got the... No, that will not do. It persistent work through sometimes lifetimes. And Swamiji says it comes and bursts upon society. So this will to live is but the will power in us. It is not free, it is bound, yet it is powerful enough and good enough. But free will, well, that is now thanks to all this neurology and this and that, they're saying now. Even philosophers and scientists are saying this is a kind of an illusion. Free will. There's no free will. But as I said, it has its uses. Will has its uses, and will is important. So here they say, those who have realized God are aware that free will is a mere appearance. In reality, you see, we don't want too many wills. We have plenty of wills, but it's all under the direction of one will. God's will. They say, God has willed, God wills. Eko ham bhavishyami, I am one, let me be many. Or in all other religions, not only organized or institutional, every religion says that God creates the world out of his will, out of his wish, out of his desire. Same thing, more or less. When you realize God, what do you feel? That everything, that will that is working, your body, mind, senses and everything, is nothing but an aspect or a derivative of God's will, the power. And then you'll know. We can end with one incident here. Swami Vivekananda, he traveled from the east coast to the west coast, and then he came first to Los Angeles and then he went to San Francisco. And with him was Swami Turiyananda. So he told Swami Turiyananda, you stay and continue this work because this is mother's will. So Turiyananda, he didn't want to kind of say, this mother's will or your will? No, it's mother's will. Have you heard mother saying? Then he says, it becomes very serious. When one's nerves, the spiritual nerves, become very fine, you can hear mothers speaking to you. So now he didn't want to argue. Turiyananda did not want to argue with Swami. Okay, he goes, and he goes through many trials to set up this huge, you can say, camp out there in this property which is called Shanti Ashram. And it was just like the old days in the frontiers men, how it was the frontier, Wild West. Only here it was not wild, but it was the West. And Turiyananda was constantly repeating, mother, 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 mother. And sometimes it was so unconscious and it was so loud at times, people passing by, they used to kind of become startled. Hey, mother, mother. And once he was walking down, I think one of the streets in San Francisco, before that earthquake, of course. And he felt that the entire body and mind is being run by mother. That everything that was working in his body was the Divine Mother's power. Then he understood, everything happens because of God's power, God's will. So then he understood, I am the machine and God is operator. I am the carriage and God is driver. We stop here for now. So can a devotee pray to Ma Shada to remove the veil of Maya so that a devotee can have a vision of Ramakrishna? Of course. Only thing you must remember that Ramakrishna and Holy Mother are not two separate things. Again, bring in always Vedanta. So, yes, you can. And pray. You pray for one day and say, oh, Mother never listened to my prayer. She wants to know how serious you are. Okay. To remove the Mahamaya, I have to pray to the Divine Mother, where as I visualize Sri Ramakrishna in my heart. Is okay, Swamiji, in visualizing two ishtas in my heart? Again, they're not two. Yeah, if you can visualize both of them, the Holy Mother and the Sri Ramakrishna also in your heart. There's no, but remove the idea that both are separate, both are different. So pray sincerely. Yes, you can in your heart. Yeah. Now it's very difficult for us to see ourselves in the heart. Yeah. Go down deep. We can visualize, we can conceptualize, we can do all these things. But at times what happens, like, it becomes, the visualization becomes blurred, kind of hazy. Then what happens? You need an external picture or a form or a visual aid. So use that. So have a two-pronged attack. External and internal. Okay. So turn on all engines. Swamiji, what is imagination or how is it categorized in Vedanta? Swami Vivekananda says, today's imagination is tomorrow's reality. Everything starts with an imagination. You are an architect and you start the whole thing in your imagination first. Okay. But this imagination should be grounded in reality. It's not something like the horns of an hare or a bunny. I saw a bunny, it has horns. Nobody's going to believe you. So Vedanta uses this. It has to be grounded in something that is known. So use that imagination because it is nothing but a faculty of the mind. The sharper your imagination, that visualization, the better you are. Of course, there are some who suffer from what is called aphasia. They cannot visualize, but they are more dependent on hearing things, sound. So you can do that also. Swamiji says, like I said, today's imagination is tomorrow's realization. Okay. So much for tomorrow, 7 p.m., the Gospel of Holy Mother, reading and discussion by Swami Brahmatmananda from Tapovan. It's via Google Meet. So please go to a calendar or the website and download the link. And also those who receive these notifications can get it. Friday, 7 p.m., self-knowledge, Atma Bodh. That's part 9 at 7 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. is Karma Yoga at Tapovan. So the usual, those who know the schedule, those who know everything can go. And those who are active, and that's the practical aspect of spiritual disciplines. Sunday, okay, there will be no lecture at 10 a.m. But at 11 a.m. we have annual general meetings. All members are expected to be present because you have to vote, etc. But vote the officers. And at least you'll see who are the officers there, or the board of directors. Because you only heard, now you'll see them. And there will be a potluck, and I will be speaking, etc. So we all welcome, members only on Sunday. The rest of that. Okay. And it won't be live streamed also. You cannot live stream a general meeting. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.